Bear down, Bears fans. Another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the Designer here with some breaking news. Matt Eberflus has been fired. Listen, Thomas Brown is going to take over as the interim head coach. We got to talk about what led into this move. Is this the right decision by the Chicago Bears? And you know how I feel about it. What took so long? All that more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let's jump straight into this. This is big news because this is a move that just makes sense for this Bears team. This is a move that, to me, just I feel like this is where you start to see some of the common sense come in with the Chicago Bears. This is where you start to see maybe this franchise, maybe this organization is taking a turn towards the right direction. Just maybe you're going to see not only just the Bears finally find a quarterback, not only just the Bears finally have a receiving core, finally have some semblance of organization on the offensive side of the football, finally be moving into the right era as far as offense, but also finally moving into the right era when it comes to having the right guy at the helm, because Matt Eberflus now becomes the first ever head coach to be fired in season by the Chicago Bears. Many people didn't think that this day would come. Many people didn't think that this day would happen because of the Chicago Bears history. Maybe, just maybe, you have a franchise that is bringing about real change. And this is something that we all questioned would actually happen. You've got a quarterback right now who looks like he's doing a lot of the things that we've wanted to see a quarterback do for a long time in this city. You look like you have an answer at that position. You're actually doing the best for him. That, to me, is the most important thing that you can do moving forward if you're the Chicago Bears. Everything has to be about the development of Caleb Williams, the betterment of Caleb Williams, everything. And what you saw was a head coach who on a consistent basis was putting you in a bad position. What you saw on a consistent basis was a head coach who was putting you in a position where you were going to end up on the losing side of the ball because of a decision that he made, because of a decision that he didn't make, because of a decision that he, for some reason, is looking around, looking lost on the sideline, saying, well, that's what we wanted to do, and doubling down on a bad move. That's how you lose those one-score games like that. That's how you end up with a coach. This was tweeted out by Josh DuBois of the Associated Press yesterday. Well, that's how you end up with a head coach who, out of 221 coaches that have had 20-plus career coaching games decided by 7 points or fewer, Matt Eberflus's record of 5-19, now he said 17 at the time, ranks 221st. That's how you end up in that situation. That's who you had in charge of your young quarterback. Also, that's who you had paired up with Shane Waldron. And yet, you have a young man who's overcoming that and still looks like he could be the answer for you at the quarterback position. You've been given a gift. Don't waste it. Matt Eberflus being fired is just the tip of the iceberg with this. The real question is now, what is Thomas Brown going to do with his opportunity as a head coach? What does he have to do for you to be looking at him as a possible head coaching candidate moving forward? And notice I say a possible head coaching candidate because I have no guarantees on Thomas Brown being the head coach moving forward. This is what I wanted. This is exactly the scenario that I wanted if you were going to move on from Flus. 5 games left in the season. San Francisco 49ers, the Vikings, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Packers. Five games to prove that you don't have to go outside of the building for the answer. I am the answer. 5 games to show, hey, no, this standard that we're going to set will not be disrespected like Matt Eberflus's quits principle today. 5 games to prove, hey, I'm the answer, not just for the quarterback, but for the team overall. Now, is that enough? To me, that's not enough for you to just get the job. But that is enough for you to get the conversation. That is enough for you to have the interview. But out of those 5 games, I'm sorry, you're put in a tough position, Thomas Brown, but you seem like a man who is up for the challenge. This is a heck of a month for Thomas Brown. Multiple promotions in a month. He went from being the quarterback's coach to the offensive coordinator to the head coach all in a span of 4 weeks. Heck of a month, dog. But now it's about what are you going to do with that? And unfortunately, we know how it is, especially in the NFL, especially as a black man in the NFL. You have to be better than the best. You've got to prove without a shadow of a doubt you don't need to go outside of the building. To me, that means that you got to win 4 of the next 5 games. And you have to look like you're the man in every one of those games. I need to see you be great in the division. I need to see if you can actually get this team over the hump in the division. I need to see, can you maintain the offensive efficiency that you have had at moments over 4 quarters? And can you do that for the defensive side of the ball as well? You are now the head coach. You are over every single thing that happens in this building over the next 5 weeks. I need to see what that bump looks like, because usually there's a little jump up in effectiveness and a little jump up in what's the word I'm looking for here, in effort, I should say, when you get the guy that you don't like out of the building. I think next game versus the 49ers, we probably get the best defensive effort we've seen in a month and a half. But you got to go out there and prove without a shadow of a doubt in every single one of these games that have to end in wins. Because I had a good coordinator that didn't win the game. Matt Eberflus can call a defense. Couldn't get wins. But just to get to the conversation, I need to see Thomas Brown winning this 49ers game, winning this Vikings game, winning this Lions game. Maybe you have a tough battle versus the Seahawks, right? Who are I don't even want to say a good team. They're solid. They're a solid team. They're a competitive team. They're a chippy team. They're a team that's always going to put out a good amount of fight, right? And then I need to see you finish off the season versus the Green Bay Packers with a dub. You do that, you secure yourself a conversation. And yes, I'm only saying a conversation because at the end of the day, this comes down to putting in position the best players for your quarterback, the best coaches for your quarterback, the best coaches for your team. It's about going out and getting the best. I hope that Thomas Brown is. I hope that by the end of this season, everybody in Chicago is looking at Thomas Brown and saying, I dare y'all to get rid of him. We will have a riot at Hallis Hall. I hope that he coaches that well and we see that big of a turnaround from this team overall. But things are about to change. You don't get to be the head coach up in the booth. You got to be on the field. Is he going to call plays the same when he's sitting on the sideline versus sitting up in the booth? Is the offense going to maintain? Will the defense continue to look the way it's looking with Eric Washington? I'll tell you this, we'll probably blitz more. Will we see this Bears team get that little bit of a bump they need to get over the hump and finally start getting some wins? Will he be able to pull this locker room back together? Although I do not believe that the players are out, I believe that the players were out on Matt Eberflus. When you heard yesterday Keenan Allen talking about after just an egregious end of that game, right? And we got to talk about the game a little bit. What got him to the point of getting fired here after one of the worst coach games by Matt Eberflus of all time in his career? You heard Keenan Allen after the game say, I think the players did enough to go out there and win this game. That's clear cut pointing to the coaching staff and saying, you're the one that screwed us over. And realistically, Matt Eberflus specifically, you're the one that did this. You're the one that didn't challenge on the goal line when it looks like there's a man with his foot on the line for a touchback, and maybe you don't have to start your quarterback in the one. Oh, your quarterback overcame that. You're the one who doesn't want to call the timeout after your quarterback gets eviscerated because both tackles basically looked up and went, were you supposed to be blocking right now? And he gets laid out there. You're the one that could have called that timeout. You're the one that didn't have your field goal unit ready apparently to run on the field, even though Cairo Santos says you practice that. It falls at the feet of the coaches. And I don't know why they had him speak today. I don't know why they waited till 11:30 to fire him. I don't know why they didn't want to do this sooner in the day, get this out of the way. And then Ryan Poles is talking. Maybe Poles was with his family and he didn't want to take time away from the fam or something like that. But at the end of the day, you got it done. Now go get the right guy. And again, like I said, I hope that can be Thomas Brown. I hope he goes out and wins the job and proves to us without a shadow of a doubt that he's the guy. But these last 5 games, don't be fooled. Don't be dumb enough to just go, we got our guy, here we go. Go talk to Joe Brady. Go talk to Ben Johnson. Go talk to Mike Vrabel. Go talk to Bill Belichick. Go talk to anybody who you think's on the list. Bobby Slowick, although it's kind of fallen off a little bit down there. Maybe not Bobby Slowick. Go talk to every coach that you feel may have a chance at improving the team, at maintaining a winning system for the team. And if you get positive feedback from those guys, right? If you feel that somebody's a better answer for the future of the Chicago Bears than Thomas Brown is, by all means, go out and get that guy. But I guarantee you this, you better be right, Ryan Poles. You don't get multiple bites at the apple on this. Yes, we love the fact that you brought us Caleb Williams and that it feels like we have our franchise quarterback and we're going to be able to move forward. Would love for you to get him some offensive linemen. That's a story for another day. We love the fact that you got us the guy that may be the first ever franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears, that we may be sitting here 10 years down the road feeling like the Kansas City Chiefs with some of the answers that they have out there, or for the love of God, that team up north, the Green Bay Packers, who seem to find every single quarterback answer known to man. But are you going to be the one that puts him in the situation where he's able to go out there and be successful and lead these game-winning drives and put you in a position to win games, and he's not going to have a head coach on the sideline who calls one of the dumbest plays that we've ever seen in our lives, and all of a sudden it shoots you in the foot? He's going to have a coach on the sideline who has a staff, an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, who's going to make the right call in the right moment to put you in a winning situation. You got to make sure that that happens here. I love the aura of Thomas Brown, as Caleb Williams said. I love the fact that he's stepped into this role. I think this is a perfect situation to get a preview and evaluation of it. But that does not mean that you can't go out and get better. And if you're not in it to go get the best, then let's be real, you're not really in it to go win games. If you're not in it to go get the best option out there, the best name available, and I'm not just talking about name as far as big name guy, I'm not talking about just Ben Johnson or Joe Brady, right? Those guys like that. I'm talking about the best name to lead your team, the best leader of men. Because I don't know if Ben Johnson can call some of those same plays there that he can call here. Because I'll tell you what, there's no Penei Sewell on this offensive line. Why is he passing, by the way? That was hilarious. You got to go out and get the best guy who's going to be the best leader of men for this team, whether it's Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, whoever it is. And if you feel that's not Thomas Brown by the end of the season, then don't feel like you got to be pigeonholed into Thomas Brown next year. But like I said, Bears fans, and hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. The thing that you should feel good about today is that it feels like you have a franchise. And I'm gonna give credit to Kevin Warren on this for all the people who say Kevin Warren hasn't made any decisions, he hasn't made any firings, whether it's Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, whether it's Kevin Warren to Ryan Poles, whether it's Ryan Poles to Kevin Warren, and they both go up to the McCaskies. Under Kevin Warren's watch, you made a common sense move in season. You made a move that makes the most sense in season. Move on from a coach who has cost you 7 games at a minimum, 4 games this year, 3 games last season. That's playoff caliber stuff right there, man. Generational loser that we just got up out of the building. You take that guy, move him out of the way, and you put Thomas Brown in place. Let's take a look and see what he looks like for the rest of the season. Kevin Warren coming out and making that decision with Ryan Poles, for Ryan Poles, however it works out. That's done under his watch. That's the first common sense thing we've seen this franchise do in a long time. Common sense. It seems like you have an answer at your quarterback position. It feels like you're getting answers at wide receiver. It feels like you've got answers on the defensive side. I think you have a bunch of answers, but I think they were just kind of done playing for Flus after that last game. It feels like you have all of these answers. It's good to know we have an answer in the front office that's making the right decisions. And maybe figure out that stadium thing, though. That's kind of important, too. The other thing that I love about this, though, is this is the first time I believe in our history that it feels like we made the right decision for the offense. This is the first time in our history that it feels like we made the right decision for the future of the offense. You want to see what this offense is going to look like without Matt Eberflus in the way. You want to see how much Caleb Williams can develop with a month of football left. You want to see how much this team actually has and give yourself the best opportunity to evaluate what's real about this team and maybe what was a little bit of a Flus decision about this team. You're giving yourself the best chance to evaluate that over the next month of football. Again, a common sense move, the right move, the logical move. We don't get that much here in Chicago. That, to me, is a real changing of what we think about this Bears organization. Remember, never fired a coach in season. Had never fired an offensive coordinator in season. You knocked both of them out. And I understand the way that they went about it. You lose the game to the Patriots. There's no offensive efficiency. Matt Eberflus says, I got to make a change at OC. That'll get us the wins. All right, bet, Flus. Let's see what the change at OC does. Lose a close game to the Packers on a game-winning field goal. Nuts. Don't know how you lost that. Lose a close game versus the Vikings in overtime. Nuts. Don't know how you lost that. Lose a close game versus the Lions. Yeah, Flus, we think it's you. I understand giving them the little bit of a leash with Thomas Brown to see, hey, listen, there's a lot of football left. Maybe we can figure this out. I get that. I didn't like it. I'd have had him gone after the game versus the Packers. But I get that. Well, to be honest with you, I'd have had him gone after the Commanders game, but that's just me. I understand the process they went through of, well, we're not just going to fire you. And you know what that sends? And again, right, this is about sending a message to the rest of the league because you're moving on from Flus. What message that sends is when things get tough, we're not just going to throw you out of here. We're not the Cleveland Browns. When things get tough, we're not just going to move on from you. When things get tough, we will even stick with you, acquiesce to some of your whims. We will do things for you that try to make your life easier. We will put a staff with you that tries to help things out to where you can move on from this guy and bring this guy in. We are willing to go through the ups and downs with you. But you got to find a way to bring us wins. That's a good message to send from an organization. I know it didn't come when we all wanted it to come. I know. Listen, I was ready for Flus to be gone, like I said, versus the Commanders, because there's no way you keep losing games like this. And then he lost 3 more games like this. Of your last 7 games, 4 of them you lost, you could have won. All 4 against the best of the best in this league, versus the Commanders, versus the Packers, versus the Vikings, versus the Lions. You had it. He had it. And yet somehow you still come out on the losing end. That is you. Now let's see what this team can do when there's no you. I like the fact that it feels like my franchise is moving in the right direction. I think that Thomas Brown has a lot of work on his hands. I'm glad that they did this during this window of 10 days heading into this 49ers game. I think this is a good game for the Bears to go out there and try and find a way to win. Biggest things I need to see from Thomas Brown over this next 5 weeks: accountability, which is something that now even more so. I feel like the second he gets that job, Nate Davis ain't in the building. Come on, dog. Like, I feel like that's him just like, he probably brought Nate into the meeting with him. He's like, hey, Nate, I got to talk to you about something up here just in case this goes the way I think it's going to go. I'm the offensive coordinator. Yeah. Appreciate you, George. Appreciate you, Kevin. Appreciate you, Flus. I am the man for the job. Yo, Nate, pack your stuff. Absolutely think that's how that thing went. I need to see accountability. Not just from you, but from your team as a whole. I would love to see what we saw from the Detroit coaches the other day when one of their players, when Jamison Williams throws the football in Tyreek Stevenson's face and he's on the sideline hitting him with the, I don't want to hear another word. And he's like, all right, my bad. All right, I effed up. I would love to see that. I need to see clock management. Look competent. I don't need you to be great at it right now. I know that sounds crazy. But I watched one of the greatest head coaches of all time struggle at clock management for a long time. But I need you to at least look competent at it. Know when to use your timeouts. Know when to throw a challenge flag, for the love of God, and don't throw it off of emotion because we had an explosive play. Ain't that right, Crusher? Razor? Coach, why'd you throw that flag down there? 69-yard gain. Had to throw that flag, Crusher. What? Did you think it was a catch? That is bogus now. I do feel kind of bad about one thing and one thing only with Flus. The NFL didn't let him get a win on his challenge. Like, they should have let him get that win. He threw the challenge flag out there. He could have won that challenge, right? He could have went out at least with one win in his pocket. The NFL was like, no, this is the official review. According to the replay review, it was an incomplete pass. Don't worry about it. We got you, Flus. You put that challenge back in your pocket. They should have let him win one on the way out. That's the only thing I feel bad about. And bottom line, dog, you got to win. 5 games left. If you finish 8-9, if for some reason you finish 9-8, let's have a conversation. If you finish 8-9 and 9-8, I'm willing to have the conversation. That does not mean you get the job automatically, because there are better names out there right now in my mind that are better leader of men. Prove me wrong on that. You bring this team together to fight them, to get them to fight to a point where they're a real in the hunt team. Not just, is that graphic getting longer, by the way, or are teams just worse? We're sitting at 4-7. They're like, Chicago Bears still in the hunt on this thing. I'm like, what kind of math are we doing on play? All right, it's just that many bad football teams in the league. I don't know what that is. Let's hope that this Bears team finds a way to get some wins after this. I think wins do mean something to you this season. Let's hope that you find a way to keep developing Caleb Williams. That means the most to you. Because, listen, 5 games left this season. You got him on a roll right now. If he goes out there and he gets the job done, what conversation are we having heading into next season? A conversation of hope at a minimum. Just like every year. I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.